What's up guys, Romsicle here, back with another video. So we're taking a break from keyboards this week, and today we're taking a look at the $35 EasySMX 9110. It's a third-party controller that works with your PS3, the Switch, your computer, Android, and pretty much any kind of tablet as long as it has a USB adapter. Ironically, it does not work with Xbox, which is kind of sad, but if you're interested, the link's going to be in the description down below. Use code Romsicle to get 15% off the entire site. So let's get right into it. Starting off with the unboxing, this is the box that you get, and inside you get the controller, a USB-C cable, a USB receiver with a red LED, and the manual. Moving to the aesthetics, this controller totally looks like the newly revamped Xbox One controller, and it's kind of ironic how it doesn't work with the Xbox One, but I think it does work with the Xbox 360, but I'm not sure since I don't have the console to test it out, so if you know if it works, let me know in the comments down below. The middle portion is glossy while the sides are a brushed plastic material, so you get that matte look without the oil sensitivity, which I really like. The analog sticks are flat instead of your typical concave or convex design, which I think gives you a little more control. They're nice and smooth without any kind of scratchiness. And on the right side, you have your four main keys with the font embedded underneath the clear buttons, which means it won't wear out, and you won't feel anything but a smooth surface. The middle button has all your function keys. You have your start, mode, back, and turbo. And on the bottom, you have two extra buttons as well that control the 5 levels of brightness, and the right button controls the 5 levels of rumble intensity. On the top, you just have your USB-C port on a weird design with a small little red LED that only turns on when you're charging the controller. For the USB receiver, it will continue to blink red until the controller is connected with the press of the home button, and the controller will show constant blue LEDs if it is connected, and if it is not, it will just continually cycle. And the back is what makes this controller special. It's got 4 extra paddles on the back, and the reason for these paddles is for efficiency. The paddle buttons are mapped to your XYAB buttons, so whenever you're using your analog sticks, you don't have to worry about moving your thumb or changing your grip to press the buttons. This is definitely most beneficial for people playing FPS games since both thumbs are on the analog stick, and it's kind of weird to stop aiming and press your buttons, but instead you can now use these paddle buttons and keep both thumbs on your analog sticks so that you can aim and move at the exact same time without having to change anything. You can also change the mapping of each of the paddle keys by holding the button that you want to change, press back, and you'll see this LED change. Then press the button that you want to map it to, and then it's complete. And if you ever want to change them back to default, hold the paddle button, press back, and press the same paddle button again, and it will reset to the default mode. Unfortunately, you can't map these buttons to do nothing, which is a downside in my opinion, because it means there will be more accidental presses, which might be very detrimental to your game. Wireless playtime is around 8 hours and takes 2.5 hours to fully charge, and of course you can use the controller while it's still charging. Range is around 8 to 10 meters, which is more than enough. And you do not need to use the USB receiver if you are plugging it directly into your console or computer to use it. So I've been using this controller for about 2 weeks now, playing mostly Wind Waker HD and Warzone, and responsiveness, controls, very smooth, no issues whatsoever. But the only downside about this controller that I can think of and I've experienced are the 2 paddle buttons on the bottom. So the issue is specifically the bottom 2 buttons, the M3 and the M4, because whenever you're holding the controller, your middle finger automatically goes onto the M3 and the M4, which is probably their design because they wanted the buttons to be more accessible so you don't have to change your grip or anything. But by doing so, that means your middle finger can't be resting on the controller. But they also made this little design in the middle of both the paddle buttons that they have a little space here for your middle finger to rest on it, which is probably where your middle finger is supposed to rest when it's not using the buttons. And your middle finger is basically floating in that little space here, and it's really awkward to use at first. This controller just reminds me of a very cheap version of Scuff gaming controllers. If you don't know who Scuff Gaming is, it's a company that specializes in custom controllers, whether it's Xbox or PlayStation. You can have higher analog sticks, you can have dome or concave tips, color customization, and they were one of the very first companies to implement these paddle buttons. And of course, their implementation is way better and their customizability is way better. But these controllers are also over $200, while the EasySMX is only $35. So I think for people who are planning on buying this controller, you're probably going to have to take some time to get used to the controls on the back and so that your finger doesn't actually accidentally press any of the buttons while you're playing any games. Overall, this controller is pretty fun to use. The aesthetics are really nice. I really like the fact that they used brushed plastic instead of using a matte coating, because that means there's not that much oil seen on the controller, especially if you're sweating really hard. I really like the fact that you can change the LED brightness with just a button here. Kind of wish that the left analog stick also had the blue ring to complete the look, but that's just my opinion. You also have that rumble sensitivity, which is pretty damn insane. Obviously, my only gripe about it is the paddle buttons on the bottom, and that you're not able to disable any of the buttons, resulting in a lot of accidental presses, but this is probably something that you can get over if you use this controller a lot. But that's been it for this review. Don't forget, link in the description down below. Use code Romsicle for 15% off the website. Next week, we're going back to keyboard stuff. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Peace.